अच्छा जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस द टॉपिक ऑफ केमिस्ट्री, जो कि है सबसे पहले फंडामेंटल ऑफ केमिस्ट्री, जिसमें हम लोग केमिस्ट्री के कुछ एलिमेंट्स को देखेंगे, जैसे कि है एल्युमिनियम, जिसका जो सिंबल है वो एल है, ऑर्गन AR, बोरॉन, ब्रोमीन, कैल्शियम, कार्बन, क्लोरीन, फ्लोरीन, हीलियम एंड सो ऑन। ये सारे जो है हमने यहाँ पे लिखे हैं, जितने भी हैं हमारे पास एलिमेंट्स। कॉपर है, आयरन है, लेड है, मरकरी है, सोडियम है। नेक्स्ट हम देखते हैं पीरियोडिक टेबल। पीरियोडिक टेबल में अगर पीरियड्स की बात करें तो 7 हॉरिजॉन्टल रोज है उसमें, और 18 वर्टिकल कॉलम्स हैं ग्रुप में। मेन ग्रुप्स की बात करें तो उसमें जो कॉलम है 1A to 2A है, 2 ग्रुप्स में कॉलम जो है 3A to 8A है, 6 ग्रुप में। उसके बाद ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स जो है हमारे पास 3B to 2B है, लाइक 8 ग्रुप से 10 कॉलम तक हमारे पास ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स जो है वो पीरियोडिक टेबल में लाया करते हैं। उसके बाद इनर ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो उसमें 14 ग्रुप से लेकर 3B एंड 4B के बिटवीन में है, जो कि लेंथेनाइड्स हैं और एक्टिनाइड्स हैं। उसके बाद एटॉमिक वेट या एटॉमिक मास की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो जो एटॉमिक मास होता है वो मतलब वो मास होता है जो कि एटम का मास है। इसका जो सिस्टम इंटरनेशनल में इसका यूनिट है वो किलोग्राम है, and the atomic mass is often expressed in the non-SI units. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट है हाउ वुड डिटरमाइन एटॉमिक वेट। एटॉमिक वेट को हम किस तरह डिटरमाइन कर सकते हैं? इसको हम कर सकते हैं बाय मल्टीप्लाइंग द अबंडेंस ऑफ एन आइसोटोप्स ऑफ एन एलिमेंट बाय द एटॉमिक मास ऑफ द एलिमेंट एंड देन एडिंग द रिजल्ट्स टुगेदर। ये नीचे एक सॉल्व भी किया हुआ है कि जितने भी आइसोटोप्स हैं उनको आपस में मल्टीप्लाई किया है और जो एटॉमिक मास है एलिमेंट्स को उनको प्लस करके फिर हमारे पास आंसर आ गया। जो जिसने इसको कवर किया जॉन टाइटल एंड थॉमस 1803 एंड 1805 के बिटवीन में इसको डिस्कवर किया गया। मोल की बात करते हैं तो मोल जो है द मोल इज द यूनिट ऑफ मेजरमेंट फॉर अमाउंट ऑफ सब्सटेंस इन इंटरनेशनल सिस्टम यूनिट। जिस टाइम इंटरनेशनल सिस्टम यूनिट की हम बात करते हैं तो जो मोल है वो एक मेजरमेंट है अमाउंट ऑफ सब्सटेंस की, एंड द मोल ऑफ अ सब्सटेंस और मोल ऑफ अ पार्टिकल इज डिफाइंड एज exactly 6.022 into 10 to the minus power 23. Mixtures and chemical compounds. If we talk about mixtures and chemical compounds, then mixture is a material made up of two or more different substances, which are physically combined. They are combined between they are combined together, and the mixture is a physical combination of two or more substances in which the identities are retained and are mixed in the form of solution or suspension. If you talk about chemical compound, a chemical compound is a chemical substance composed of many identical molecules, and it's composed of atoms from more than one element that is held by chemical bond. For example, if we talk about water, we all know water consists of two hydrogen atoms and bond with oxygen atom. And if we talk about molecules, a molecule is a particle that is made up of two or more atoms that are chemically bonded together. The number of atomic nuclei making up a molecule is a determined number. And if we talk about an example, and so we have an example of HCl, it is a molecule made up of a hydrogen and bonded to the chlorine atom. It is made up of two atoms and is called atomic molecule. Next, if we talk about ions, an ion is an atom or molecule that has a net electrical charge, since the charge of the electron is equal and opposite to that of the proton, and the net charge of the ion is non-zero due to its total number of electrons being unequal to its total number of protons. And next, if we talk about ionic bond, ionic bond is a type of chemical bonding basically, and it's involved in the electrostatic attraction between oppositely charged, or one having positive and next one having a negative charge on it, and it's occurring in ionic compound. It is one of the main types of bonding, along with covalent bonding and metallic bonding. Ions are atoms along electrostatic charge. If we talk about the names of chemical compounds, then we have ammonium, bromide, sulfate, and chloride. Let's we have an introduction of periodic table. Dmitry Mendeleev published the first periodic table in 1869, which is based on the work of physicist Henry Moseley. The periodic table was recognized on the basis of increasing atomic number rather than on atomic weight. The revised table could be used to predict the properties of the elements that had yet to be discovered. Next we have intensity properties. Basically, we have to know about the differentiate between intensive properties and extensive properties. Firstly, we have intensive property, and it is basically independent of sample size, taste, and melting point. It is a chemical property of the element, and extensive property is dependent on sample size, length, and volume. Physical properties, characteristics that do not involve in a change that do not involve in a change in a sample chemical characteristics makeup. Chemical properties chemical properties that are involved in a change in a sample chemical nature. And if we talk about the structure of atom is the smallest constituent unit of ordinary matter that constitutes a chemical element. Every solid, liquid, gas, and plasma is composed of neutral or ionized atoms. Atoms are extremely small. Typical sizes are around 1000 picometer electric charge, 0 or uh, ion charge. Mass range it's basically is 1.67 10 to the minus 27 to 4.52 into 10 to the minus 25 kilogram. Diameter range 62 pm to 520 pm. And John Dalton was the first who discovered the theory of first modern atomic model. J.J. Thomas was the physicist who credited the discovery of the electron. He used his research on cathode ray tube technology in this discovery. The Democrat named atom concept of the atom originated around 440 BC. Let's say we have a talk about atomic number. Atomic number are proton number of a atomic number or a proton number of a chemical element is the number of protons found in the nucleus of every atom of that element. The atom number uniquely identifies a chemical element. It is identical to the charge number of the nucleus. Isotopes. If you talk about isotopes are the number, the atoms with identical atomic numbers but different masses number. Like carbon 12, we have a mass number and we have a atomic number. We have a 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. Carbon 13, we have a 13 and 6 mass number and atomic number. Then we have a matter. Matter is any substance that has a mass and takes space by having a volume. Matter, substance, are mixture. Mixture may be a heterogeneous or homogeneous. Substances may be elements or compound. Next, we have a differentiate between covalent and ionic bond. Covalent bond those when two atoms share several electrons. For example, methane, carbon monoxide, iodine monobromide. A transfer of one or more electron from one atom to another. Ion. A charged particle, cations, those having a positively charged particles, and anions, those having a negatively charged particles. Now, let's we know how to balance the equation. The chemical equation needs to be balanced. We know we have a lot of chemical equations that we have to balance all the equations. Basically, they occur when the number of the different atoms of element in the reactant side is equal to that of the product side. Balancing chemical equation is a process of trial and error. Balancing equation that we know that with a C plus H2 and after balancing it's CH4. Next, we have a differentiate between microscopic and macroscopic calculation in chemical equation. First of all, microscopic, two molecules of hydrogen gas react with and 1 molecule of oxygen gas to yield 2 molecules of liquid water. Macroscopic 0.56 of hydrogen gas can react with 4.44 kg of oxygen gas to yield 5.00 kilogram of liquid water. Stoichiometry is the calculation of reactants and product in a chemical reaction. Stoichiometry is found on the law of conservation of mass, where the total mass of the reactants equal to the total mass. Let's we know about the mole. The mole is the unit of measurement. Mole is the unit of measurement for amount of substance in the international system of unit. A mole of a substance are the mole of particles in defined as exactly, which is 6.02 into 10 to raise by 23, and it may be an atom, ion, or a molecule. Basically, Avogadro's number are units in the mole, and it is equal to 6.02 into 10 to raise by 23. Molar mass of a chemical compound of a sample of the compound divided by the amount of substance is the sample measured in the moles. Molar mass is calculated by adding up all the atomic masses for every atom in the formula. Molar volume, the molar volume symbol Vm is the volume occupied by the 1 mole of a substance at a given temperature and pressure. It is equal to the molar mass divided by the mass density. Limiting reactant is a reactant in a chemical reaction that limits the amount of product that can be formed. The reaction will stop when all of the limiting reactants is consumed. Excess reactant, the reactant in a chemical reaction that remains when a reaction stops when the limiting reactant is completely consumed. Empirical formula of a chemical compound is the simplest positively integer ratio of atom percentage composition is of a given compound is defined as a ratio of the amount of each amount of individual element present in the compound multiplied by 100. Molarity indicates the number of moles of solute per liter of solution and is one of the most common units used to measure the concentration of a solution, and the molarity can be used to calculate the volume of solvent or the amount of solute. Dilute is a thinner, weaker by adding water or another solvent to it. Concentrated solution is a solution that contains a large amount of solute, which is relative to the amount that could dissolve. Electrolyte solution, and if we talk about electrolyte solution, electrolytes substances that dissolve in water to yield ion are called electrolytes. It may be a covalent bond which chemically reacts with water to produce ion, or they may be ionic compounds that dissociate to yield their constituent cations and anions when they dissolve. Solubility is the property of a solid, liquid, or gaseous chemical substance called solute to dissolve in a solid, liquid, or gas solvent. Mass की बात करें, if we talk about mass is a property of physical science. It usually measured as gram, kilogram, and an object mass is constant in all circumstances. Contrast this will its weight and force that depends on the gravity. Temperature conversion. Scale of temperature is a methodology of calibrating the physical quantity temperature in metrology. Different units, varying units of volume, density, and energy. Now let's we talk about law of definite proportion. It is also called Peirce law. The law of definite proportion or law of constant composition states that a given chemical compound always contains its component element in a fixed ratio and does not depend on its source and method of preparation. Law of multiple proportion. It states that the law of multiple proportion states that if two elements from more than one compound between them, then the ratio of the masses of the second element, which combined with a fixed mass of the first element, will always be ratios of small whole number. And if we talk about precision and accuracy, the precision of a measurement system is referred to how close the agreement is between repeated measurements. Measurement can be both accurate and precise. Accurate but not precise, but not accurate are neither. Significant figures each of the digits of a number that are used to express it to required a degree of accuracy starting from the first non-zero digit. It carry meaningful contribution.